The Treasury Department has approved 9 more states for part of this $10 billion that's going towards small businesses and entrepreneurs. Hey everyone, it's Ryder from Skip. Big news today on the SSBCI, that's the State Small Business Credit Initiative. $10 billion from the federal government is now approved for 14 states. I'll share what those 14 states are, which ones are accepting expressions of interest, which ones are still trying to figure out the program, and for the 36 other states, what timeline can we expect? So this is huge news, a major program, $10 billion for small businesses. As always, thanks so much for subscribing, turning on the alerts, and if you find this valuable, hit the like button and drop in what state you're watching from, because this $10 billion is being given out to the states. So this is very state specific, so we'd love to hear what state you're in, and we can do a deeper dive into your state in an upcoming video. By the way, if you want to stay up to date on this $10 billion, click the link at the top of the description to drop in your email. We will keep you up to date so you don't miss out when your state gets funding and starts to allocate funding to startups, small businesses, entrepreneurs. So click the link at the top of the description. Can't stress that enough. Okay, here's the announcement from a couple days ago. Treasury approves 9 additional state plans to support underserved entrepreneurs and small business growth through the State Small Business Credit Initiative, SSBCI. This is an ongoing program, but it's getting more attention now, especially post EIDL, because there's $10 billion out there. And last month, I talked about the first announcement when 5 states were approved. I'll recap those as well. But a quick update on what is the SSBCI, as in what type of funding can you expect. Here is the quick list of the types of programs. There's 5 listed here, so I just want to point them out. Venture capital programs. These investments are focused on providing capital to underserved startups and democratizing venture capital access across geography and to diverse founders. That's the first one. Then there's loan participation programs, so more good loan programs. In these programs, states, DC, territories, tribal governments buy an interest in the loans made by lenders or lend directly alongside private lenders. So similar to some of the SBA programs where the SBA backs private lenders. The third is the loan guarantee programs, where state, territory, and tribal governments use the SSBCI funding to provide an assurance to lenders that they will be partially repaid in the event of a default after the lender makes every reasonable effort to collect. So again, similar to the SBA program, backing private lenders, so lenders can give out loans to you knowing that they will be backed by some amount of funding, which allows for wider capital access. The fourth, collateral support programs. The programs in this model set aside funds as collateral for new loans, enabling startups to borrow funds to help their businesses grow with the assistance of SSBCI capital. By the way, we just published a video on loans that do not require collateral. I'll link to that above right here. You can watch that after this. And the fifth one here, capital access programs, CAPS. These programs provide portfolio insurance in the form of a loan loss reserve fund into which the lender and borrower contribute, supplemented with SSBCI funds. So these are the main types of programs, basically different lending instruments with the aim of increasing access to capital, especially for underserved entrepreneurs or small business owners. Okay, on the 9 new states and then the 5 existing states, there's a total of 14 states that have been approved for funding. Things are moving quickly now. We expect more states to continue to be approved in the next couple months. So whether you're one of the 14 states I'm going to mention today or one of the 36 still awaiting, use the link at the top of the description to stay updated on these programs. Things are evolving. Things are continuing to evolve. It's the bit.ly link right at the top of the description. If you want to find out when your state's approved, how to show early expression of interest, and how to actually apply or contact lenders that are utilizing this SSBCI funding and backing. So if you want to stay in the loop, just go to that link and drop your email in. We'll keep you updated. And of course, subscribe and turn on the alerts because we don't want you to miss out on this. So the new states, and I'll explain the programs in each of these: Arizona, Connecticut, Indiana, Maine, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota, and Vermont. Those are the latest state plans approved by the Treasury bringing the total amount approved up to more than $1.5 billion. So that's a lot of money. That being said, there's still $8.5 billion that is left to be approved. So there's a lot more to come. We're just getting started. There's a little history here on the SSBCI. I just want to mention it was originally established in 2010, but the American Rescue Plan expanded this program. Basically said, let's put another lump sum of money. How's 10 million sound? Great, let's do it. Wedged in there with a lot of other money. And one of the goals is this: SSBCI funding is expected to catalyze up to $10 of private investment for every $1 of SSBCI capital funding. So they're basically saying, hey, we're going to put in 10 billion. We expect the private sector to also invest alongside up to $100 billion for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups. Here's a quote from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. This is an historic investment in entrepreneurship, small business growth, and innovation through the American Rescue Plan that will help reduce barriers to capital access for traditionally underserved communities. I'm excited to see how SSBCI funds will promote equitable economic growth across the country. Okay, state by state here. Arizona, approved for up to $111 million, will operate 3 different programs, including 2 venture capital programs to which the state has allocated $87 million. And a loan guarantee program. The venture capital programs will invest in seed and Series A stage focused venture funds and early stage technology startups. All 3 programs will focus on underserved businesses with the goal of expanding access to capital for underserved businesses. Connecticut, approved for up to $119.4 million, operate 2 different programs. The Connecticut Future Fund, supporting entrepreneurs from underserved backgrounds, and the Climate Tech CT Fund, supporting early stage businesses with a focus on clean energy, environmentally safe manufacturing, and climate resiliency. In Indiana, approved for $99 million. They have 2 different programs as well. A venture capital program will target seed to early stage investments in Indiana for innovators and startups seeking between $500,000 and $5 million in equity capital financing. Maine, approved up to $62.2 million, will operate 4 different programs, including 2 venture capital programs to which it's allocated $20 million. In addition, Maine has allocated $22 million to a loan participation program that will launch long-term economic growth, focusing on the state's 10-year economic development plan. Another $20 million will be available through loan guarantees in partnership with various local lending institutions. New Hampshire, $61.5 million, 5 different programs, including a loan participation program that has $40 million. That $40 million will support community banks that serve rural and other underserved areas of New Hampshire. Pennsylvania, $267 million, has 3 different programs: capital investments and venture capital investments program, which it's allocated $142 million. Their 3rd program is a loan participation program, which it's allocated more than $125 million, will participate in loans of no more than 50% of total financing to small business borrowers. South Carolina, $101 million, $50 million for a loan participation program, and $51 million for a venture capital program. South Dakota, $60 million for a loan participation program, and Vermont, $58 million for 3 different programs, 2 venture capital focused, and $29 million for our loan participation program. So basically, these 9 states that I ran through quickly, I know it's a lot to keep track of, mostly have both venture capital programs to support early stage startups, pre-seed, seed, Series A type startups and businesses, and loan participation programs that can help more traditional businesses get access to funding. And again, if you want to follow along with these, because some of these states are now asking for expressions of interest, none are starting to allocate funding. So keep that in mind. But it's going to be tricky. Basically, the states are working with lenders to implement these programs I just mentioned. So we're keeping track of all of that on a daily basis. And finally, just to recap, the 5 other states that we announced in June, I'll link to that video above as well: Hawaii, Kansas, Maryland, Michigan, and West Virginia. Total of 14 states have funding, 36 states, plus the district, territories, tribal governments are still waiting for announcements from the Treasury. So whether you're a business, entrepreneur, early stage startup, solopreneur, or thinking about it, chances are good that your state is going to get money that you can use and you should know about. We're going to post this today on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So please follow us there and tag a friend. I think they're going to thank you for this because this is a big deal. Not a lot of people are talking about this, mainly because it's complicated to follow, but we're doing it. It's not one program at the federal government. It's 50 state programs plus DC plus tribal governments plus territories. So there's a lot to keep track of. We'll save you all that time and keep you in the know. So thanks for subscribing, turning on the alerts, and like this video if you found it helpful. Drop in your city and state below. Would love to hear. And finally, if you want one-on-one funding help or you want to join our upcoming webinars and have access to all of our past webinars on grants, SBA programs, go to helloskip.com/join or use the link right below to choose one of the plans. Most importantly, stay well, stay healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow.